Well, here's an email we received from one of our listeners named Christiania. She says, "How important is worship in service? I live in New York City, and finding a church sound in doctrine is quite a feat. I found a church with great teaching, but the worship is, alas, in a word, dreadful. I'm convinced the singer's voice is a joy only to the Lord. I'm visiting and trying to determine if I want to become a member of this fellowship, but the singer's screeching both depresses and aggravates me. Though it's difficult to imagine it's only me thinking this. Should I look elsewhere for fellowship, time my arrival for right before the preaching begins, or wear earplugs during the singing?"
Yeah. Yeah, sorry to hear about this experience. Sounds like pretty painful to sit through the worship there. I'm glad to hear that the doctrine sounds good. It sounds like the preaching is good and you're able to receive that well, but you're having a hard time being distracted by the worship. By the way, let me just say this. There are two things that can be really distracting when it comes to the musical part of church worship. It can either be such a big performance. I mean, it's just a bunch of professionals up there basically doing the worship on behalf of everybody else. It's a performance, and that can be a distraction because it keeps us from engaging because we feel like, well, I'm not good enough to sing. They're doing it up there. They're up there, and I'm here, and I'm more of a spectator. I'm observing this show. I've seen that in churches, in large mega churches. That's one distraction that we need to be careful that we don't fall into. But the other distraction is sometimes, and this is, can be the case usually in smaller churches. Sometimes the music can just be so bad that's the distraction that we're not really caring to do this part of the service with excellence. And I think it's important that we do the entire service with excellence. And so the worship, quote unquote, the musical part can either be a distraction because it's a performance, or because it's just poorly done. And it sounds like in this case you're distracted because it's being poorly done. And so there are a couple of ways to go about this. One, you could just have a conversation with the leadership of the church and say that this is a distraction to you. The Apostle Paul in 1 Corinthians 12 through 14, he's talking about ordering Christian worship services. He says everything needs to be done for the edification of the body, for the building up of the body, and it needs to be done. He says this at the end of 1 Corinthians 14, decently and in order. In other words, it's not just this big spectacle that is a distraction. Again, we're fixing our eyes on Jesus, and everything that happens in the service should help us to do that. And so if the singing is not helping you to do that, I would say have a conversation with the leadership of the church and just say, hey, I'm struggling here. How do we go about picking the songs and who's up there singing and whatnot? And really, I think that's an important conversation to have. I think that can be a way maybe that you even encourage the church there. And so I don't know that I would say you need to go find another church. Certainly, I would say the main thing that we need to make sure we're getting from the churches we're in is faithful Bible teaching, the proclamation of the gospel. And so if that's there, great. And I wouldn't say show up in the middle of the service so that you just hear the preaching but you miss everything else. No, part of it is still fighting to be engaged, even when it's hard for you to be engaged, even when maybe you don't like the song or the singers aren't as good as you would like. I would say, seek to be focused on the Lord still, to try to get through the distractions. Obviously, we don't want to have those distractions, but to continue to worship there with others, and to draw near to the Lord and to worship Him. And so thank you for that question, and may God bless you as you get plugged in under the ministry of the Word and as the Lord continues to work in your life.
It's great advice, Adriel, but let me ask you this. What if that worship singer is the pastor's wife?
Yeah, and oftentimes isn't that the case, right? Like maybe that's why they're up there. Well, I would say maybe still have that conversation. I don't know, that's a little touchier in that situation, isn't it? My wife does not sing on the worship team, and she'd be the first to tell you wouldn't want me to. So, we need to have the humility to be able to say that. But I appreciate this question, and again, I think it gets us right to the heart of, we in worship, we don't want to be distracted. We want to focus on the Word. We want to focus on Christ. And so trying to remove those distractions, I think, is important. Hey friends, thanks for watching that video. I trust that it was encouraging to you. Please be sure to subscribe to our YouTube channel if you're looking for more great content coming from Core Christianity. And if you haven't done so yet, would you give this video a like? It's one of the ways that we can continue to get the word out. So like this video and subscribe to our channel for more content. May the Lord bless you.